Yo, what's happening, guys? Coming at you from DOWN4SOUND In this video, we're going to be answering a question that I've seen a lot over the years of being on the internet, especially the further Down4Sound grows and gains more success and everything like that. People often want to hear, how did it get started? What was the idea that made it into an actual thing, I guess you could say. So we're going to start off back when, it depends on how long people have been following me, but if you've been following me for a while, you'll know the Tahoe used to be a dark blue color and had some chrome 26-inch wheels on it. And anyway, I was taking it to shows, and I've been a bass head like almost all my life, and I was going to all these shows just having fun. And the more like I grew my following online, the more people would see me at shows. And so that brings two things. That brings obviously supporters, and it also brings you having people looking for equipment. So the first thing, like, I'm going to all these shows and people, and I'm videoing them. You have to have seen some of my videos on YouTube of people getting demos of my Tahoe and stuff like that. So we were doing that for many, many years. And doing that, people like start asking, do you have a YouTube channel or whatever? And so I created one. First one got deleted. Second one, here we are, 500 something thousand subscribers. I'm not even sure what it is anymore. But anyway, so we started out with that one, ended up with this one, and we just kept it going. So every time we would go to a show, people would get a demo, I would video it and I'd put it online, and people would love the reactions that like people were having to the crazy amount of bass. And that is how we grew our following organically, which is very, very important. So in doing this, we were going to shows. Like, the more I started doing it, it also gets you a lot of recognition with different brands such as Sundown, and what else was I using? Excess Power and PSI Car Audio. That was the three brands that I kind of started my journey with. And the more like got them out there, I was already using their products, but the more I got out there, the more that they wanted to be involved in it. So I was getting stuff at a better deal. I was getting a slight sponsorship, whether it was 10% off or 20% off or whatever. I don't think at that time I ever got anything for free, like a free ride. But anyway, I was getting a discount on it. So really quick, the way that a sponsorship works is a company, or the way that it should work, is a company gives you a discount on the product. In turn of you, they have to make the return on investment, or ROI, somehow. So the way that they're supposed to make their money back is you promoting them, you telling people like, hey, for instance, if we sponsored somebody today, like back in the day, it was Sundown sponsoring me, the deal that I gave them, like, hey, I have a YouTube channel, I have all these subscribers, I have all, like, I go to all these shows and I have the proof of it. I'm not telling them I'm gonna go do this. I already have the track record of doing it, so they know I'm not just another person talking and lying about, like, just wanting to get product for a discount. And they started sponsoring me, and which was great, and I was appreciative of that. And I was still going to the shows, and like my system was growing in size, which makes it get even more recognition and stuff. So people started asking me after they would get a demo, like, man, where do you get your equipment from? And at the time I was like, oh, you go to Sundown, or you go to Excess Power, or whatever, because I didn't have a website or anything. I didn't sell anything. I was just having fun, like doing bass head stuff. So and that was my part of the deal with the sponsorship, was to point them back to the company. So that's what I did to uphold my end of the bargain. So fast forward, like going to all these shows throughout the year, I had these people asking me more and more often, where do you get your equipment from? And finally, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was at Scraping the Coast. I don't know what year it was or whatever, but I was at Scraping the Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I gave somebody a demo, and they asked me, like, where did you get your equipment from? And it was like, the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, man, I could be selling these people this stuff if I could just figure out how. I didn't know anything about business, and like whatsoever. So I'm like, but it kind of gave me the idea of if I could figure this out, I could be selling them this stuff because there's already a demand there. People are already asking for it. So I just have to figure out how to fill the demand. I ended up contacting, I think Sundown and Excess Power was the first ones. Contacted them like, hey, I'd really like to become a dealer for you. And went down that whole road of becoming a dealer, which at the time I was living with my parents and I was typical paycheck to paycheck type of lifestyle. And I saved up I think it was $5,000. I did a first buy-in. It was either Crescendo or Sundown or Excess Power. I can't remember which one it was, but the way that it works is the more you invest into a brand or a company, they more than likely give you a little bit better margin on it so you can make some more money. But in doing that, you have to store the product, you have to babysit it, you have to warehouse it, everything like that. So that's how it works. I'm like, I really want to do a buy-in, but I'm scared to death. What if I'm not able to sell it? And again, like I don't have any money. So I start saving up my money. Like on my regular job, I was fueling airplanes. And then I had 2 or 3 other jobs. I was cutting grass, I was waiting tables, detailing cars and airplanes. I basically did everything to make $1 to get this money up to do this initial buy-in. So that's how it got started. That was the origin of it. And I send them the money and I get my little very small, I think it was like a quarter of a pallet, maybe half a pallet of product. I get it listed on the website, and then I didn't even have it on the website. I didn't have a website at first. I just had it, I brought it in, and like I would tell people, hey, like on my Facebook or social media, hey, I got this like Crescendo stuff or Sundown stuff. If you're interested, like I can get you taken care of. I'll ship it out quick, take care of you as fast as possible, everything like that. So did that, and I started getting some sales here and there, but the further it went on, the more people would be messaging me. So the only way that I could take care of a person was like individually. I couldn't take care of hundreds of people at the same time. So, but at that time, my thinking was very small too. So I would get people that would message me after I had went to sleep, and they would say, hey, I need a DOWN4SOUND DBZ12. And I would wake up in the morning and I would see the message. I'm like, oh, hey, I'd love to help you out or whatever. I'm like, oh, sorry, I already bought something else. And this kept happening. Like I kept missing sales because I wasn't awake or whatever. And I was also, before that, when I was going to the shows, I was getting some t-shirts and stickers and merchandise and stuff like that made. And so I had the t-shirts and all the like apparel and merchandise stuff that I would take with me to the shows. And so I had that, and I had a little bit of product, and I couldn't, like, I'm not a computer guy and I'm not a website guy. So I'm like, I can't figure this out, how to get these things on the website or whatever. So that's when I met my longest term employee or team member. His name's Mark Vanderswag. And I owe so much to him for like helping me out from day one. But he was the one that, he was a fan of mine, or a YouTube subscriber of mine. And somehow he had messaged me on Facebook or something. He's like, hey man, I'm looking to get a t-shirt, and I'm like, oh, I can get you taken care of, like how do you want to pay? And he's like, well, the story might not be 100% like exactly how it happened, but in my head this is the way that it went down. He was wanting to get a t-shirt, and I was like, okay, you can pay me. I only took like PayPal or something like that. He's like, oh, I can't use that, we have to buy it through a website or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to do this website thing. Just hit me back up in a week or two, and we'll see how, if we got it going or whatever. So he messages me in a couple of weeks, and during that couple of weeks, I had tried to put up like a t-shirt and have different colors of it, different options, and all this stuff that I actually had. But I couldn't figure it out. Like I could figure out how to get the t-shirt there, but I couldn't figure out how to get the sizes, the colors, and all that stuff. So I'm like, man, screw this. I don't need no dang website. I could just help people out like manually or whatever. So anyway, he hits me up. He's like, hey, did you get the t-shirts added so I can buy some? I'm like, man, I can't figure that junk out. I don't need no damn website. He's like, oh, it's easy. And I'm like, if it's so easy, why don't you do it? And he's like, okay. So he literally like gets a test website and has all these shirts and all the designs and colors and all this stuff added in like 30 minutes. It's crazy. I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, this dude's a freaking genius. Like, how does he know how to do that? Turns out he is a genius. Like, he knows computer programming and all this like back end stuff. And I'm like, man, I really need this guy on my team. And he's still with me till today, and I'm grateful for that. But he was the one that like made me realize like I needed to have a website so I could take care of people when I'm not awake. So he helped me. He's been helping me since day one to get all that done. So he's been doing that. And so he got those things, like every time we come out with a new product or would bring on another brand, he would add them to the website and all that stuff. So that's how we got started in like adding it to the website. But in doing that, you have to have a place. The second thing is you're getting in this product, you have to have a place to store it. So at that time, again, I was living with my parents paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have anywhere to like a storage. I didn't have anywhere. So I was literally getting in product. Let's see if we can find some pictures, but I remember Crescendo being like a brand that I sold like a lot of, and that's what I started bringing in a lot of at first. And I would get the product in on a little pallet, like I'd ship it to like some of my friends' work, and I'd go by there with my truck and get it. Then I'd take it to my parents' house, and I would store it in the attic of their house. Like we're talking $5,000 worth of stuff, so it's not like a lot of product. So anyway, I was shoving this stuff up in the attic of my parents' house because I didn't have anywhere else to store it. So anytime I would get an order, well, at that time I was getting an order like once every 2 weeks or so. So I would go up there and get the product, bring it down, pack it on my parents' kitchen table or whatever. Like, so that was the deal. After it continued to grow a little bit, my dad had a new shop built in the backyard. So I'm like, hey Dad, can I use a little bit of your shop back there to store some products? He's like, yeah, but just that one side. I'm like, okay, cool. So I put it on one side of the shop, and then like after a couple of weeks or months, like it just kept taking over more and more space in his shop. And he's like, boy, you're taking over all my like shop that I just had built to put my stuff in there. Now I can't put anything in there. So anyway, we did that, and I'm like, okay, well his shop's almost full, so now I need a little bit more room. So went and got a 10 by 10 storage unit. We have this actually popped up in my memories not too long ago, but like the products in this 10 by 10 storage unit, I did this, like I thought it was this monstrous buy-in for some Sundown audio stuff before Black Friday. I saw Black Friday was about to come just like it is now, but I saw it, I'm like, man, I need to get some products in, so hopefully I can like make some sales. I did that. I sent them Jacob Fuller's mom, the guy that used to own Sundown. He actually, his mom like remembers that, like, because I sent her this order and it was like, I don't know, $15,000 or $20,000, and she's like, I've never seen anything like this from JP. Like, let me call him and make sure he's okay. So she calls and she's like, hey JP, I got your order. Did you mean to put all that stuff on there? And I'm like, yes ma'am. And she's like, okay, well we'll get it shipped out to you or whatever. I'm like, okay, thanks. So they get it done and shipped out, and I put it in the storage unit, and Black Friday happens, and that's kind of how the first little rush of business happened. But during that time, I was also planning on moving to Vegas. So that little, like the storage unit, my parents' attic, and the shop in the back, that lasted for, I don't know, probably the course of a year or something like that. But towards the end, when I got that storage unit, I was already planning on moving to Vegas. So after I decided to do that, I took all that product after the holiday rush had ended, and I knew it was going to be a slow time. I took all that product and shipped it on pallets here to Vegas. I was living with, it's now my wife, Jess. I was living with her being a bum, and I was storing the product in her garage, and then it started growing into her living room and taking over other rooms in the house. So I had to like look for another place. So what's happening, guys? If y'all enjoyed all the hot content that you saw in that video, be sure to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram under the Life of Price, and also Down4Sound Shop on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget Snapchat. I'm JP D4S on there, so be sure to check me out there. We'll see you in the next one. Later.